Davis, your host of the Untold Miracles podcast, and today I am so excited. We have a very special guest on the show. He is a singer, a songwriter. He won the 11th season of American Idol in 2012. Mr. Philip Phillips, thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you.
I've been listening to your music all morning, and I'm so excited for your new album to come out January 19th, Collateral. Tell me what we can look forward to in that new album.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you're listening to it. Glad somebody's listening to it. The title kind of speaks for itself. You know, I kind of went through some stuff with the past 3 years. You know, a lot of legal trouble, and I wrote so many songs, but these are kind of the final 12. And so these songs kind of, my meaning towards Collateral, it's something that comes alongside of something else and a parallel. And these songs, they came alongside just so many different emotions, a lot of hard times, and a lot of amazing times. I got married as well, so it was where I was at, emotionally and mentally. There's some songs that are cool rock songs. There's some blues songs. There's some more just broken down acoustic love songs. And it kind of hits on all these different emotions. And it kind of tells the story of what I've went through in its own way, but not being too, too literal with it, so other people would have their meaning towards it as well. So I'm excited to see what people think about it.
Well, they're going to get to hear you perform on your Magnetic Tour, which you kick off on February 9th. And you're coming to Salt Lake City, where the national office of Children's Miracle Network Hospitals is, on March 13th. So I will be at your show, and I can't wait to hear you.
Awesome.
Well, we got the opportunity to meet a couple years ago at the Ace Hardware Golf Shootout in Hawaii, and I got to meet your beautiful wife, Hannah.
That's right.
Thank you, Philip, for the support that you've given Children's Miracle Network hospitals. You've visited our hospitals, you've visited Seacrest Studios, and you actually have your own personal experience with Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia. Can you tell our listeners about that?
Albany's the biggest town that's around. I'm from a little smaller town, but if you're a woman, you're going to have a baby, I think you go to this hospital in Albany, Georgia. and that's kind of where I was born. But, I was actually premature, around a month or so, premature, and I was really sick as a baby. And, I just had some amazing doctors that performed a miracle. I guess God was moving through them.
How long did you have to spend in the hospital?
It was probably a good month or so. I was in and out quite a bit. My mom said I didn't cry a lot because I was always sick. So I was either trying to sleep or just too tired to cry. And I see, and I go back and meet these families, that are going through troubles, way worse than what I've gone through. And it's you kind of had to have that hope. And my parents definitely had that, and, a lot of prayers. It's just kind of what I like to do to try and give back.
Speaking of health challenges, when you were on American Idol, you actually considered quitting. You'd had 8 procedures that were really painful.
Yeah. So my body produces a lot of calcium. Kind of when I was trying out for Idol, I kind of noticed something different was going on with my body, and then finally went to the doctor, and they didn't see it at first, and then went back to the urologist, and he showed me I had 2 of these big kidney stones that had been there for a long time. And so I had several surgeries to kind of try and get it out. And then when I was on the show, I still had to get a couple more surgeries, and then I had to wear a stent in.
And perform.
Yeah, I had to perform with a stent in. Oh. And so I would literally be hooked up to IVs right before I would go on the stage, and just to kind of get, just to give me a little energy. But it was, I could barely walk, 50 yards. So that really got me to, want to quit. And I went to the producers like, look, I can't take this really much more, because we were staying super busy. And they knew I was sick, so they would help out a little bit. But whenever it came down to, like, when I was ready just to throw in the towel, they said, they kind of took it a lot easier on me. So it was pretty intense.
Well, what miracles would you say happened during that time to help you get through that experience?
For me, Dr. David Joseph, he was out of L.A., he was just the best doctor. He wanted me to, be successful, and not just the show, but, musically and just for the future. But just meeting him, I think it was, my wife and I talk about it all the time, because I think it was, a blessing and, definitely a miracle to have him as my doctor over there in those circumstances. That was the biggest miracle. And having my wife over there, but girlfriend at the time, because she is having to put up with me. So.
Well, I want to know, Phillip, what it was like when you first walked on stage in front of the judges. In your year, it was Jennifer Lopez, who actually says you're her favorite singer that ever on the show, Randy Jackson, and Steven Tyler.
Oh, sweet.
How did you go from this kid from Georgia to winning American Idol? How did this happen?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I just kind of got lucky, but I never really watched the show. My family and friends were just like, just try out. There's some tryouts nearby, like 5 hours away. So they said, we'll pay for your gas, whatever. I said, I don't really know. I don't know what this show's about. I said, I don't know if it's really my thing. There's some amazing singers, and I'm not like an amazing singer or anything.
I disagree.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate it.
I'm obsessed with your music.
Oh, well, thank you. But I was just more of a musical guy, and so I said, well, I'll just try it. And so I went there and waited for like 10, 12 hours and finally went through, and they said, we'll come back Monday, and I was on like a Saturday. Then finally, when we went in front of the judges, after I made it through those several auditions, I was terrified. I'm always a nervous guy, anyways, when it comes to performing or anything. Because it's always a different time, And I kind of tell people it's all right to close your eyes, when you start off. Sometimes I don't look out until I'm, feel comfortable on stage, and so I had to look at them, and then I didn't really want to talk because I had everything in my head I needed to do, and then they wanted to talk, and I was like, let's just stop the small talk. I just want to do this and get it over with, and just, I just really focused in on what I wanted, out of music and out of my career, and I still do to this day. And I feel like that's where, it kind of gets kind of hairy right there. It's a thin line between like being an amazing singer, but also knowing what you want out of your life and what you want to represent yourself as. And I kind of knew what I wanted at a younger age, but there's always I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I was just doing what I knew and doing it the best I could. So I don't know, I guess some people liked it.
Well, when you made it to the top 10, what was your mindset? Did you think, what, I've got a really good shot. I think I'm going to win this. Like, what were you thinking?
No, I thought I was going to get kicked every week, so I didn't. I was scared to death. Because there's some amazing singers. Again, like, I can carry a tune, but, Jessica Sanchez and Joshua Ledet, they can sing. They can freaking sing like crazy. And I can just make some cool stuff up, but I can't sing like they can. But it was fun.
Well, tell me what it was like when you're on stage and they announce that you are the season winner of American Idol.
It was weird. It was like an outer body experience. It was, I kind of felt like I was looking at myself from a different angle. It was really weird. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And because, I don't think any of us on that show, you're moving at such a quick pace that you don't really understand what where you're at, because you're in this bubble and you don't really, you don't realize so many people are watching you all over the world. And I just wanted to go down there and hug my family and cry like a baby and then see what life had in store for me. So get ready to work hard. And that's what I did. And
what's been the best part of your journey? Because a lot of people don't understand that there's great things and bad things that come along with fame. I want to know the best part, and I want to know the hardest part.
Yeah, the best part is I get to travel the world. I get to meet new fans all the time. I get to play music. I play guitar for a living. That's pretty awesome. That's the best part. Sometimes you get a free meal at a restaurant. That's always a perk. But it does get hard at times because you family or friends, still to this day, they don't realize what you give up to get being gone 2.5, 3 months or longer out of a year, and you don't see your family or friends for that long. When you finally see them and you kind of get home after that long period of time, you kind of look in the mirror and you're looking a little older and they look a little older. Everybody's moving a little slower. Kind of makes you stop and think. And you got to, it's also realizing that this isn't going to last forever. So live it the best you can and embrace, all the good moments and learn from the hard moments. And so yeah, I'm blessed.
What would you tell some of these miracle kids? We treat 10 million kids at our 170 children's hospitals each year. What would you tell them about dreaming big? I know that you were working in your family's pawn shop. You'd gone to college. You missed the graduation so you could do Idol. Did you ever dream this big, and what would you tell kids?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely dreamed this big. The only way I could go to sleep at night was if I was singing. I would imagine myself singing at these amphitheaters or whatever, and people singing these songs back to me that I'd written, and then it came true, and then your dreams start to change and you start to grow even bigger dreams, and it's an awesome feeling because everything is possible. When things start to happen, you can't really slow down on it. You gotta keep working hard. That's what I tell everybody. Like, I have advice is like, you gotta work hard. Don't stop, but enjoy it. And, don't keep it fun. It's good to dream big.
Philip, I'd like to know the biggest miracle that's happened in your life.
Wow, that's a great question because there's a lot of them. My wife, us meeting each other is definitely a miracle because we were both, when we met, she was going through some hard things and she said I helped her out through a lot.
How did you meet her?
We met, we were helping rebuild this battered women's and children's home in our hometown, and she just happened to show up. And our town's small enough that I would have seen her at a party or something.
Right.
And I'd never seen her before, and then I kind of flirted with her because I have such great game. And then we saw each other that night at a party that these girls at my high school they were putting on. It was this rave, and I don't know, I didn't really want to go, but my buddy wanted me to go, and because I'm not a raver. And she was there, and it was just such the weirdest thing because it's like we'd never seen each other before, but then we see each other twice in one day, and we just kind of hit it off and went on a first date and second, third, and then just been going on dates ever since. She's just my best friend, and we help each other out in different times in our lives when we both know that we need it.
Right.
And she's completely different from me. She's more of a go-getter and not quite as shy.
Which you are pretty shy. I didn't know until we met. I'm like, you are kind of an introvert. A little bit. Yeah,
she's not very shy. She's so it's good that we're opposites like that. And even this album is dedicated a lot to her. All these albums are, but this one in particular because we were both going through something that not many 25, 23-year-olds have to go through.
Right.
And so this, we just stayed strong and tried to stay positive even when it was really tough at times. So, she's definitely a big miracle for sure.
Philip, do you mind sharing some of those personal struggles that you were going through that nobody knew about?
Oh, yeah. You kind of get a little depressed, and some things in your life, if it's people that you look up to kind of let you down. And, that was really tough, and we both have had that in our lives. And not to get too personal, but it's, when you have some people up on a pedestal and then something happens, it kind of makes you think, that, wow, life is
can I trust life?
Yeah, can you trust a lot of people, and can you trust, to some people that are around you anymore? Or, I've been depressed, at times. She has, too, and some things just happen in your life that you don't expect. And,
yeah.
But it's not, it's not really, what happens in your life to me. It's how you come out of it that really defines you as a person. You can't really let so many of these things, pull you down because I've been through a lot, like I said, there's so much more that I've been through that, and I know people that have been through so much more than me that are, it's just crazy how positive they are. And if it was me, I don't know if I could be that positive. And that's what keeps me going. It's like, man, I have no reason to, this life that we live is so good to us, but also, it's a learning experience,
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that because there's so many people out there that struggle with depression. I'm one of them, and it started for me when I was 24, and it's been a really long journey.
Yeah.
But just to be open and vulnerable, because people need to know that, he got through it. I can too. So thank you so much for sharing that.
And it's not like you won't, my wife and I always talk about stuff. It's like, it's not that there's going to be times that remind you of it. You know what I mean? It's going to make you sad, or you be sad for a second, then you kind of just like, all right, I let it out. It's okay to cry or be angry. Those are good feelings to have. It's good to let it out. So, holding it in is the worst thing. And I cry all the freaking time. I love to cry. So
I love it. You know, there's the 4 emotions: happy, mad, sad, scared. And for me, I just want to feel happy all the time, but it's not healthy to feel happy all the time. Like, you got to feel all 4 emotions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, again, with writing songs, you know, there's some songs that are on all the, you know, each one of my albums, you know, and even this new one, there's some love songs, but there's also some heartbreak songs, and you know, so it's good to touch on all those emotions.
Well, what is your favorite song on the album?
I don't have a favorite yet, but the song I wrote for my wife called "Dance with Me," I really love that song. There's a song called "What Will Become of Us" that I really love too. It's one of my favorite lyrically that I've written.
Do you write all your own songs?
Yeah, you know, I'll co-write them too with some people that I really trust. You know, I'll either go in with an idea or something, and we just kind of work on it from there. And, you know, I've got some amazing friends that are awesome, amazing songwriters as well.
If you aren't familiar with Phillips music, you can just go to your website, philipphillips, right, .com?
Yeah, philipphillips.com.
And also, some of my favorite songs, Gone, 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 and Home, which is, I think, the best-selling song of all time for Idol. I don't think there's a song that's done better than that song. That's what Wikipedia says, Philip, so I'm going to go with that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you have really been everywhere. You've been on Ellen. You've performed at the World Series. You've done so many late-night shows. What has been your most memorable TV experience?
Super Bowl was pretty fun. Oh, I'm trying to think. There's so many other ones. Yeah, Ellen's fun. She's great. Jimmy Kimmel, awesome. Conan's great. So, yeah, today's show's awesome. I'll take anything that'll take me.
Tell me, has there been a specific child that you've met along the way that's really inspired you? Maybe that you've met at a children's hospital?
Oh, I mean, there's been several. I mean, always on tour, I always try to go to some hospitals and you know, visit some kids or teenagers. And but there's been so many. There's a recent one. Her name's Stephanie that I've met. It's up around New York. I forgot the exact name of the hospital, but she's just great, and she came out to a show not long ago, and she's just such a big fan of me and my wife, and she's just a sweetheart, and she's, you know, she has such great questions as well that I remember she was asking, and just, you know, just basically what inspires me to write songs, or that's the most recent, but there's been several kids and teenagers that I've met that inspired me.
I do want to throw it out there, Philip, that while you're on tour this February through April, if there's any hospitals in any of those cities you want to visit, we're happy to arrange for those visits. Well, I have a couple quick fire questions before we end. I want to know your favorite song of all time.
Just of any song?
No, I want your song and any song.
My favorite song of mine, it really changes. It depends on the day, but oh my gosh. The song's going to be on the new record called My Name.
Okay.
It's just this rock tune. It's just a fun one to play live because we rock it out pretty cool. And so that's been my favorite one right now. If any song, oh my gosh.
I know that's so hard. And I also want to know your favorite artist.
Any AC/DC song of any time is always a fun one. That gets me. Angus Young was my first hero growing up and, as a guitar player.
I know you really looked up to Johnny Lang, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, Hendrix. I was about to say Hendrix is like, you could always listen to him. I mean, he's just a genius. I mean, definitely Hendrix is inspiration. This list could go. Led Zeppelin is a big inspiration. Chris Cornell, Tom Petty. I mean, I can't just name
That was
one.
a very unfair question. All right, so I have one final question before we close this out, and it is, if there were 3 miracles that you could create in the world today, what would that look like for you?
I think definitely to cure any sickness. You know, that would be a miracle. If any time, just to cure any sickness, so nobody has to go through it. And maybe, hopefully, you know, a miracle that we could all, you know, come together and really, you know, support one another, because, you know, there's a lot of people that get jealous, or people that don't want other people to succeed. More of people supporting one another. Oh my gosh, I don't even know a third one. I'll be honest with you.
We can go with 2. If just those 2 happen, can you imagine what a better place the world would be today? So we're just going to go with your 2, and that's wiping away all illness and disease, and everybody just loving one another and having each other's back. Our competition should be against ourselves and just being a better version of ourselves each day, and wanting to build and lift one another up. So I love it. We don't need a third miracle, Philip, but I just want to thank you so much for taking time to be on the show today. I just want to do another plug for your album. It's coming out January 19th, Collateral. Where else can people find you?
Yeah, Twitter at Phillips with 2 L's. On Instagram, Phil with 2 L's in both. Facebook. Check out the music on iTunes. And I think we have some vinyls as well. I think you can order online, and which is going to be fun, and come out to some shows.
Philip, thank you so much for the good that you create in the world. Thank you for the miracles you create with your music and with the time that you spend helping kids at the hospitals and everything else you do to support so many other nonprofit organizations. Thank you, and have an amazing day.
All righty, you too. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode of Untold Miracles. We're so grateful to have your support, and we would love it if you could go to iTunes and leave a review. If you have any questions, comments, ideas of special guests you'd like to see on the podcast, please email me at kdavis@cmnhospitals.org. And if you'd like to make a miracle in the life of a sick kid, go to cmnhospitals.org and donate. Thanks again for your support of the Untold Miracles podcast.